Dr. Suzanne Scholte, the president of the Defense Forum Foundation, is in the house virtually, and we're talking about Korea, both North and South Korea, and the very significant risk that has been run of late that we might find ourselves seeing the US South Korea alliance fractured by a diplomatic gambit of the now, fortunately, outgoing president of South Korea, Moon Jae-in. And Suzanne, what I'm most anxious to talk with you about is if that thing actually were to be adopted as the policy of the new government, the incoming government, despite the past promises, but in the face of the kind of pressure that we've seen brought to bear in the past, why would that be such a significant strategic setback for freedom and possibly an invitation to Korea War 2.0?
Hwang Jong-yap, who I was very, very close to, who was the author and the creator of the Juche religion, right-hand man to Kim Il-sung, who defected in 1997, he said the only thing that stops the regime in North Korea from taking over South Korea is the American troops. They are ready. They want, that is their objective, to unite the country under that dictatorship. It has never changed.
By force,
that is the single most thing that stopped it.
Yeah. And I think, again, that's hard for us to get our heads around. All these years, 3 generations of the Kim dynasty have never wavered from that objective. And as I say, if they can do it with force, that would be their preferred process, as I understand it. So, Suzanne, we may have dodged a bullet with Moon's shortly his departure from office. But the threat from North Korea abides. The threat from China and its efforts to penetrate and influence South Korea is very real and growing, arguably. And I guess this raises the question about, so what should we be doing now, both to support this new government in what seems to be a relatively robust approach, but also to try to, well, as you say, set those people in the North free of this terrible, repressive, totalitarian, and increasingly threatening regime, not least of it, the fact that it is increasingly arming itself to the teeth with weapons designed to attack us as well.
Well, I think the number one thing that we always focus on is saving lives. And we have a situation right now, as we talked about, you and I talked off camera earlier about this cyber intelligence expert, part of a military unit in Russia who is doing cyber warfare, who was trying to defect.
A Korean national.
Exactly,
a North Korean national. For the North Korean regime.
And the American people know that the one thing the North Koreans are really, really good at, counterfeiting, drug trafficking, but they're really good at cyber attacks. They've gotten into South Korean banks. They got into filmmaker Sony here in the United States. So this is a military cyber warfare unit worker from the elite unit. He was trying to defect. What an incredible asset. That shows you how bad the current South Korean government is, that they did not get this guy. But he is now in a consul office in Vladivostok being held by the North Koreans. And they're trying to engage to try to get Russia to allow him to come to South Korea. Russia is a signatory to the Refugee Convention. So that obligates them, because this man will be killed. But that
I was assuming if they haven't already killed him, that he would be stuffed into a diplomatic pouch and smuggled out of the country in short order for that
His life
purpose.
is in grave danger. Now, there's a difference of opinion among some of us folks about, I think as long as he's alive, there's hope. But a lot of people think he's gone. He'll be killed. But the other thing is there's refugees in China, and all the refugees in China are either from
North Korean refugees.
Right. So this is a North Korean cyber guy in Russia, and there are some in Russia that we're helping that we're thinking are going to be fine. But there's also a very large group in China, hundreds, probably 600, that were trying to escape. And they got stuck, and they got arrested in China, and they're stuck there because this is a good thing. China has not been able to force them back to North Korea because North Korea has closed their border.
Ah.
Now, these folks fall into two
As
categories.
a result of the COVID problem, I
Right.
recall.
They were like the
Yeah.
first. Of course, they don't have any COVID, right? They've never had
Of course they
COVID.
don't. Right.
No deaths from COVID, no
Just want
COVID
to keep
cases.
it from coming in. Right.
Just look at the WHO statistics. No cases in North Korea. But that border's been shut down, and they were the first to do it. They were probably I think North Korea is probably the first country after China that had a COVID outbreak. But because of that, China would love to just force them back. But North Korea's borders closed. They won't take them, at least for now. So
what does that mean
very
could be done if the Moon government wanted to before it leaves office?
We know for certain that the Moon government could get them to South Korea because they've already done it successfully with a family that a couple of months ago that we were working with. We know they could do it. The couple of very important things for people to remember: the South Korean government did not boycott the Olympics, so they have some favor with Beijing. So they have some favor there. And the other thing that's important is that China has demonstrated in the past its displeasure with North Korea's missile launches by allowing North Korean refugees to go to South Korea. What's happening right now with the ICBM launches, the recent ICBM launch, this would be it's a very opportune time for Moon to act. He's almost done with this office, but this is a historic time. And we just did an op-ed, and I just reminded Moon that it was his family that were rescued. They were North Korean refugees. They were rescued by Americans. The only reason why Moon Jae-in, the president of South Korea, grew up in freedom and prosperity in South Korea was because Americans rescued his parents from
That's a great
North
story.
Korea.
Yeah.
So
And
you're reminding him of that.
it is to him in turn that this effort to rescue those who are in grave danger if they do go back to North Korea and
These are
almost certain death.
children and women and men.
Yeah,
Just a
and
reminder, these are families.
they should get the freedom that he's enjoyed in South Korea, needless to say. Suzanne, we have to leave it at that. We're going to have you back to talk more about what you've been doing to try to broadcast the truth into North Korea. We really appreciate so much what you've been working on, among other things, at the North Korean Freedom Foundation. Come back to us soon. And thanks to the rest of you for joining us for this edition of Securing America. I hope you feel better equipped to do just that, and that you will learn more about what you can do at securingamerica.tv.